2026 has been great, hasn't it? And although there is still more to come, it's half of the year checkpoint right now. You know what that means in this channel? 2026 ranked movies from worst to best. At least the ones that have watched onto right now. I've seen a total of 28 movies from the ones that had big released in this calendar year on theaters, so I'll go ahead and rank them from my personal preference, and you guys can share your opinion.
I'm not an astronaut.
If you don't go, you die.
Hello guys, what's up? So last year in 2025, I uploaded this same video from the 2025 movies, and at the end of 2025 I uploaded one with the overall ranking with all of the 78 movies I watched, and that will be the same dynamic this year. At the end of the year we will look back at all of the 2026 releases, but we're going to talk today only about the ones that had come out and the ones that I have seen. So those are like the first rules and disclaimers that I'm going to make on this video. The first one is that there are a lot of movies that I have not seen. Either it's because it had not been released or have not been able to attend festivals, because how would I go to festivals? Other than that, the second rule is that this will be mostly a ranking based on an objective analysis. Of course, there's nothing such as subjective in art and movies, because it's all about subjective about experiences and all that. But I'm trying to evaluate movies as my critical mind develops a little bit more. So I divided it in the following points. Well, it's not like a rating criteria because it's not like percentages, but I was taking into account story, general script, technical aspects, which was the filmmaking, how the movie, and at last, one of the most important things, it's the subjective aspect, which is the experience of watching the whole thing and how much I personally like it. Before we get into the ranking, I would love to invite you to subscribe to this channel. I love movies. If you love movies, come here and join in, because I upload weekly film content. If you're a fan of the channel, you might notice that I'm running my usual setup with my lights, my LED lights, and my videos normally look a little bit better. Right now I'm back on my home in Mexico, and I will never be returning to the former recording spot because I am changing home. Yeah, right now we'll be doing it right here, and even though it's not the best quality because there's no lighting devices and my camera is not best because it has like automatic settings, I'm still going to be here, and I hope that you still enjoy these videos with me. With nothing left to say, I think it's time to get started. So let's talk about it. Coming in the lowest position of the whole ranking, the Masters of the Universe movie. This movie for me this might sound harsh, but to me it was a little bit, to an extent, unwatchable. Why is this thing? I feel like it's a very generic movie. It's very bland. It does not look that well most of the time, with the exception of those Earth scenes that are maybe well lighted, and we have some interesting montages and match cuts. That the movie itself is ugly looking in CGI, in lighting, and shot composition. I feel like it's not great. There are some rescuable things like the action scenes that I just could not put myself together with the pacing of this movie, how long it feels. I just didn't like it, and I'm really sorry, because I really wanted to like it. I was interested in watching it, seeing the poster, but when I finally got to watch it on Amazon Prime, I was kind of really disappointed and tired, and I didn't like it. So I think it's the worst one I have watched so far, unfortunately. I give it 4 out of 10, which is 2 stars. Ranked at number 32, basically the least favorite movie for me this year. It's Bitter Christmas, a Marta Navidad by Spanish director. They've been famous around the world. Pedro Almodovar. This movie I had like the opportunity or like the luck to be in Succession, where the director Pedro Almodovar like showed up just to introduce the movie, and he said that it was one of the most personal ones, and it was a really interesting moment. And you know, I've never like been a big fan of this style. I was like, couldn't be a bit but That was the most famous one. I didn't love it. This one was like kind of not a great introduction towards this project because I hadn't not watched any project for this one. And this one was at the Cannes Film Festival, but in Spain it like released before being in the festival. What can I say about this movie? I really did not like it. That's like the general consensus, and I'm not going to extend that much in these movies, in all of them, because it would make for a really long video. But the point with this one is that I feel like it has a very lackluster story in the sense that it has one of the worst endings I have ever seen, because it feels like it leaves the story unfinished. Like it's not like a plot twist that you're like, oh my god, no. It's randomly, it does not have a climatic moment, does not lead into something, it just stops outright when things are getting more interesting, and when you feel like, okay, it's about to get a little bit more personal, it ends. And I'm like, when it ended, I looked at my girlfriend because we watched it together. I looked at her and was like, is this really happening? Is this really true? Like, is this really how it ends? I was like, is this a joke? What the hell? It would be higher if it had a bigger ending, because I was kind of entertained by it, but it ended up being all over the place, and with a little bit of analysis, I feel like it didn't deliver. But I also think that it didn't have like a great cinematography. It has the great art direction, art design, production design that Almodovar's movies always had, and all the rich colors, but then it comes in lighting and in how the camera itself works, and I feel like the shots are not memorable at all. So to this movie, I just gave it a 5 out of 10. It does not pass, because in my grading system, I have to be 6 out of 10 to pass, to like be in a higher grade, to be actually approved. So 5 out of 10 is not approved. By the way, I'll leave you through my socials now that we're starting on it. I forgot before. You have here my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Letterboxd, where I just talk about movies. My Instagram and TikTok, where I'm just promoting the stuff that I do myself. So I would love for you to go follow me on both, and we can share movies together. Coming in at position 31, it's The Devil Wears Prada 2. I made the sin of not watching the first one before seeing this one, because I honestly like didn't have time to do that. I feel like this movie is irrelevant in the sense, not in the sense that it was irrelevant to pop culture, because it was important, you know? A lot of people went to watch it and did a lot of money. What I mean by irrelevant is that it does not really have anything to say to me, at least. I didn't feel like it had a theme, a message, or a heart. I think it just existed as a cash grab, maybe, I don't know. I feel like the pacing was really bland, very boring, in the sense that I was enjoying the movie at times, but then I was bored and it felt so dragged out, and I kind of fell asleep. It was not a good experience at the theaters. I feel like it has a really bad screenplay, bad script. What I think I can say actually works is the chemistry between all the actors and the actors. But aside from that, I feel like this movie had a story that did not work, and it was all over the place with a lot of plot points that just it just has nothing to say. I also feel like it had like a really poor lighting, cinematography choices, and there's not a single shot that I can stand out, which for me it's very important, you know, that when you watch a movie, at least there's an image, a shot that you can say this is good. So if there's not that, what's the point, in my opinion? But aside from that, I give it 5 out of 10. It does not approve. It has 2.5 stars. Then the number 30 position, it's Scary Movie. I don't know what number it is, but it's Scary Movie. It just has that title now, which is like very weird. The movie itself is really fun, but it's a little dragged out. It gets to the point that it gets old, but I still had a good experience with it. I loved the kites in that cameo. What was one of the most fun moments. Like, I didn't see it coming, and all the sequence of that Twitch livestream was really fun. I don't know, man. I think it was successful, and it like achieves what it wanted to do, and it has a lot of really interesting references, so that was cool. I still give it a 5 out of 10 and 2.5 stars, because I don't think it really stands out in quality. 29 position, we have Cold Storage. This movie, I really wanted to watch it when I saw it announced somewhere, because it has my goat, Joe Keery. I love his music, and I was like, man, I want to see him acting aside from Stranger Things. So I watched it recently on a plane. Maybe not the best place to watch a movie, but I did it because it was there. I didn't get the chance to see it on theaters. I feel like the acting itself was decent, you know, and good. Like it works out, and like everybody, Liam Neeson, Joe Keery, and I don't remember who the other person is, who the girl is. I'm sorry, but they all did really well, and I would love to say that they, like, you know, have you interested. Like they carry the movie. With them, it was entertaining at least, and I was able to enjoy it. Nonetheless, what I can say is that this movie script, at least, it's like it's a 2-in-1 in the sense that there's like two plot lines that do not feel the same movie because they both look different and they also have a different pacing and a different rhythm and a different like humor, and in general it feels like you have two movies stitched together, the Liam Neeson storyline and the Joe Keery storyline and the storage. Of course they all come together, but it doesn't feel that natural. And aside from that, I think that the movie also does not look very well in a lot of instances. The effects and the CGI and all of that is actually really good, and that's something that I can say congratulations for. But when it comes to cinematography, lighting, there are some day scenes in the desert that just look very bland. The night scenes and everything inside the storage looks okay, but I think they could have done a more interesting work with what they had. I still had a good time watching it on the plane, it was a good watch, but I still would not give it an approved stamp because to me it's a movie that is just fun, but it could be even better and had a lot of potential in the story because it actually was kind of entertaining. So I give it 5.5 out of 10, almost approved but not yet, 2.75 stars. At number 28 we have a movie that talks about my country and the World Cup. Mexico 86. This movie is about how they brought the World Cup to Mexico back in 1986 for the second time in the history of the country, and it had Diego Luna, one of the most famous Mexican actors in the world right now, the man who acts in Andor. I think this movie is really interesting. I saw a lot of comments saying it was Mexican Morty Supreme, and that's so right. You have a really interesting character and in general really good acting by Diego Luna, and everybody, like the supporting cast, they did really well, and I really appreciate that. The overall narrative itself and the story, it's really interesting, at least for me that I like football and I love my country, so it was cool to see. Nonetheless, the problem that I find this movie is that it's too broad in the sense that it puts in its plotline a lot of time. There's a lot of years, a lot of events that they cover, and in a certain way the story kind of loses impact. You still have a good character development and a good pacing, but the movie is kind of too wide open. It was a fun experience, and this is the first approved movie of the whole bunch. 6 out of 10, 3 stars. Number 27, we have The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. This movie was one of the most anticipated movies for me of 2026, and I think for a lot of people. We all wanted to see Christian Bale as Frankenstein. We were all interested in seeing Academy Award winner Jessie Buckley and also Maggie Gyllenhaal direct an interesting Frankenstein take. This movie, as soon as it started, it like stated that it was different, and you could see it that it was not what you would expect. But I really like those, I would say, vanguardists. I don't know, vanguardist, yes. Those vanguardist touches, those unconventional, out of the norm, out of the mold stuff that they did with the kind of narration of the writer behind The Bride. It still feel like there was a little bit too over the place in this movie. There's great acting, and in general it's fun, and Frankenstein and The Bride, the chemistry between Bale and Buckley is great. But to me the movie was a little disappointing in the sense that first of all the script felt too long and the rhythm didn't benefit that much because there was a very unnecessary plotline of the police and all the detectives, and it did not work that well. It was really like not interesting, and I feel really bad because I think the movie could have been very well if you remove that plotline and you focus on Frankenstein and the Bride, which are the thing you want to watch. I still understand why it did underperform, because it's not an accessible movie. 6 out of 10, 3 stars. At number 26, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. This movie, I don't have much to say about it. I loved to go watch it, and it was really fun. That's the definition of these Mario movies. They're just fun, and they kind of feel like an Instagram reel, a YouTube Shorts, you know, like in the sense that it's all dopamine and action, and there is not necessarily a concrete plot and theme to follow, but the animation works well. The characters do, they are like well done. It's not a perfect movie, of course, but it's fun. So it got a 6 out of 10, a 3 stars. It's Mario. Coming in at position 25 in the middle of the ranking, we have Enola Holmes 3. This for me is a bit of a guilty pleasure. Those Enola Holmes movie, the past two, and this one have been, this for me, something that I actually enjoy and find entertaining. Nonetheless, was the weakest one of all of the three, mostly because I feel like it has a bad plot twist and a weak climax, thanks to the fact that we have the same villain from the last movie, and I didn't like that. I feel like the mystery and everything was very interesting, and then you kind of miss a little bit of it. You know, it was a miss. I still find that this movie had a decent look for what Netflix lighting and Netflix movies normally have us expecting. You know, at least it has some decently constructed places, some decent shots, and I think that it worked well. I liked it. I liked how it looked. Of course, it was not perfect, but it stood out from other Netflix movies. And the effects is always like the highlight of this movies, like the title cards and all the animations. And this was not an exception with the Enola Holmes movie. Like, it really worked well. So it's 6 out of 10, 3 stars. Number 24, horror movie called Hokum. Have Adam Scott, which is like interesting because I had not seen him in a movie. I had only seen him in Severance, so it was good to see him be the protagonist in a theater. And the story itself, it's interesting and has really interesting symbols, and horror itself is worked well, and it's scary, and that's enough to be said, you know. It needs to be scary. Nonetheless, I feel like the script has a little bit of bad execution in the sense that it could have been better. Like, I feel like the scenes are written, some scenes like the beginning or some parts like the ending are not that well done, and even though you're hooked to the story and what's going to happen and the mystery behind it, some things feel unnatural. Some characters feels like they're just sticked into the movie like this, and I wish that it was a little bit better, because I think that, as I said, the story and the symbols are very interesting. In terms of cinematography, it's okay. It's well done, well lighted, well photographed, but there's not much. I think there's a Shining reference at the opening credits. Maybe I'm wrong and I just took it the wrong way. But aside from that, I really think that this story had a little bit more potential. I did not love it as much as I think it could have been. So it's 6 out of 10, 3 stars. At number 23, we have The Mandalorian and Grogu. A Star Wars disappointment, the return of Star Wars to screens after 2019. And you know, The Mandalorian used to be such a good character, such a good TV show, and I don't know what happened between season 2 and 3 and then the Book of Boba Fett and all that, that now when it comes to theaters, you know, it hasn't lost all the hype that it had when it released. I remember people were like, The Mandalorian is the best thing in the world, and it was, because it was such a good TV show. This movie is fun, but it's not as good as the character is, and I feel like we had not seen the evolution that this character promised and deserved with Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2. And, you know, maybe this movie would have been more interesting if it didn't have Season 3. This good movie itself feels like a season because it feels episodic, but it's not in a good way. The movie was disappointing. It had some interesting things, and I really had a fun time. The music, I really liked the music. A soundtrack, like the original soundtrack that Ludwig Göransson did, it's really good. And there's some good cinematography choices, especially when the Mandalorian is fighting, like Pedro Pascal fighting the giant serpent. That was so good. It's one of my favorite shots. And it's like, I feel like it was like a missed opportunity, because you have a lot of interesting concepts like this city where it's the friars, the gladiators. It looks like Gotham City, and I was like, man, take more advantage of it, you know? It's just there, you're not exploring that much. So, you know, there's a lot of things that could have been done better, but I still think that it was a fun ride. So yeah, 6 out of 10, 3 stars. Number 22, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Man, I was so hot for this before. Mostly the trailers promised a lot, and then you go and see the movie, and it was kind of disappointing, you know. It had interesting things, good acting by Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt, and my goat White Russell, who did a really good job, but it felt like ever since it started, you know, it was really confusing. You didn't really follow a cohesive narrative, and it ended up being a really disappointing movie with wasted potential. It could have been so interesting, but it felt dragged out, too long, and it just didn't deliver for me. Like, the plot twists were there and were good, but they were predictable, and not predictable in a way that you were enjoying, because predictable doesn't mean bad, but the way that they all to everything just didn't work out, you know. Story is kind of too broad, and it doesn't focus in one cohesive narrative that really tells you the message that I feel Spielberg wants to convey with this. The climax was good itself, but it also leaves you wishing to see more, and it's like, this big reveal is the big reveal that everybody knew was coming, so why are you hiding it from us, you know? Cinematography, I liked it. I think I really liked some shots, and specifically how the camera moves. Like, Spielberg really works the camera movement and the camera work really well in his direction, so that's something that really stood out. But still, this movie is a 6 out of 10 with 3 stars. At position 21, almost approaching the number 20s, we have Supergirl. So this one is probably one of the biggest disappointments of the year, because everybody was expecting, what is DC Studios going to do next after seeing Superman? And unfortunately, Supergirl did not deliver with the hype that everybody had. Ever since the trailers came out, everybody was doubting it. It didn't look as good as the comic book, and you know, that's really important. The source material was really good, and it's not compare, you know. I do feel that Millie Alcock as Supergirl did well, and Jason Momoa's level did well, and all that, but I feel also that the world building was accurate. Like, there were very interesting details that worked, that actually worked and had you entertained a little bit. But this movie is just that, it's entertaining. It's a missed opportunity in cinematography, of course, but also in story and its antagonist. Not only is it like a bad design, in my opinion, I think the antagonist's story is just not that well handled, and I think this movie is all over the place. There's a lot of themes that they feel like separate movies. It feels like they didn't end up making a great screenplay, nor a great final product. And the biggest critique I have with this movie is the unnecessary musical scenes. Like, instead of using a composed soundtrack with like a leitmotif for Supergirl, they decide to go with the songs, and like, you know, it doesn't work well. The biggest standout for this movie, of course, is David Cornswag appearing as Superman. My goat, he really did well, and he's a beam of light. I cannot wait to see Man of Tomorrow. So Supergirl, disappointing, 6.5 out of 10, which is 3.25 stars. Position 20, there's Runner, Corredora, a Spanish film that I watched on the same day as Hokum, and I was surprised by it. Like, I genuinely just went because I liked the poster. It's a deeply personal film. It's whiplash for runners, so that's good. It has a blend for photography at parts. That's something I did not like, but I really enjoyed character progression, the character arc, and as a whole the story had me interested. It went from I'm being like, I'm not interested in it, to after the first plot twist and in general like the second act, I really enjoyed it. I still feel like the climax does not hit that much at all. I feel like it did not have a great construction, but I really like the movie. I don't know, I think it's a directorial debut for the director, so I think it was a good director debut and good work. It gets a 6.5 out of 10, 3.25 stars. Position 19, Minions and Monsters. a great homage to movie history. Like, I was really watching it, I could not believe my eyes. I was like, what is this doing in a child movie? Like Citizen Kane, Journey to the Moon, Lumineers, all that. I was like, what? No, I was surprised. I watched it recently, and I think that the Minions and the Monsters has a really great plotline. Like, they have the robot thing, but they also have the robot alien thing, and the Minions wanting to find a home, and the movie thing. I think it worked really well. It was really interesting and really fun. But I feel like the movie is too long, and the villain, the antagonist, is not that good, you know? But then there's a reveal that it's not truly an antagonist and it's a movie. It was really interesting, but I felt like the movie kind of went a little bit too long, even though it's not that big of runtime. I still, I don't know, the pacing, maybe. I still liked it, and it was fun. That's all that I can say. It's a Minions movie, if you gotta love it. 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars. Then at number 18, another animated movie. Has been a good year for animated movies in my opinion, with Goat. This is made by the same producers and team behind the Spider-Verse movies, and you can see it because the animation is gorgeous. It really looks too good, and I loved it. Nonetheless, I still feel that this story was a little bit kind of generic because it's typical follow your dream stuff, but not in a way that it's really original. So I really liked it a little bit. But in general, the character arc, the characters, everything is really well written, and you connect with it, and you're rooting for the protagonist, which is the most important thing. So in general, I liked it. That's most of it that I can say. Maybe a little bit generic. It could have been even stronger, but I liked it. 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars. Number 17, one of my kind of like sheets of the year, a movie that I really enjoyed. It's called Crime 101. This movie, I feel like it's underrated. Like, honestly, I really, well, no, you know, like, I understand why people think it's not that good, but I think it's good. You know, I really liked it. I liked the character work, and there were some interesting shot choices and cinematography choices that I feel worked really well. Like, I don't know, I was surprised. I knew as soon as I walked in that I was going to like it. And, you know, I at least, maybe because I'm a man, I really like the character of Chris Hemsworth, his male loneliness. It was interesting, and in general, I feel like it was an interesting movie, so that's why I gave it to me. And also, technically, it was direct, so yeah. I think that what takes away some points is the Barry Keoghan character. I feel like it was such an unnecessary addition, and I feel like he did not do this, like he did not do well. I honestly don't like Barry Keoghan that much in this movie, so that's what I can say that I did not like. Aside from that, it's just there. So 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars. Position 16. The biopic of the greatest of all time, Michael, was a little too formulaic, the typical biopic formula that you all know since Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, you know, I didn't like it. Like, I enjoyed it, and it was a good experience with all the music and stuff, but the movie is just that, music. It's just aura moments and hype moments, but the story is a little bit too repetitive to blend everything you have seen in a wasted potential for all the things we know about Michael Jackson's career, and I feel like they do not explore his character that much. Like, he's just like, you don't see his creative process, you know, you just see the things happening magically, and that's what I don't like about biopics. We are not like exploring the creative process, which is maybe like the most interesting things, you know. I feel like this was wasted potential, and I honestly think that Michael Jackson deserved better. But my props to all the acting, you know, Jafar Jackson, Coleman Domingo, they did really well, and Coleman Domingo, his character especially, I think that you could have had an interesting theme and story with Michael and his character, which in general is obviously like the main plot point, but it's not that well like focused on, you know. The movie is too broad, exploring the hype and hour moments of Michael Jackson's career, and I don't know, it's just not great. 7 out of 10, 3.5 stars. Number 15, Netflix movie, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, In the Rip. I honestly was like, I didn't know of the movie's existence until it released, and I saw it because a lot of people were interested in it, a lot of people were hyping it, and I saw the podcast talking about it, and in general, it was surprising for me. I feel like it has a great pairing in Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Obviously, two great friends, two great actors, and you have a very interesting story. I think it was really morally ambiguous plotline that really worked well, although we got to a point, I don't know, maybe it felt dragged out, the climax was not that interesting, So in general, it was not that marveling, but I still liked it. I also felt like it was good visually, one of those Netflix movies that look good in my opinion. But yeah, you can see that it's a Netflix movie, TV movie, and it still was a really interesting TV movie that I feel that really stands out this year. It gets a 3.5 stars, 7 out of 10. At number 14, The Bone Temple, 28 Years Later. For me, a disappointment because I like 28 Years Later 1, you can see that on my previous ranking. I really like 28 Years Later Part 1, and this one I was really hyped for it. I saw the trailer and I was like, man, this is going to be so epic. I was disappointed, I was really disappointed. Mostly, I think it's because I had a lot of hype with the first one, and this one started really well, but I don't know, man. I think I was missing more of what was this guy's development. I feel like he took a little bit of a step back from the end of the first movie. I also felt a lack of Aaron Taylor-John's character. I felt like he was very interesting and we could have seen a little bit about it. I also feel like this movie was a little bit bland and the film innovation that the first one had with the iPhone and all that, like all the shots, like and this one I feel like it really didn't deliver that much. Nonetheless, I still feel that this movie had a lot of great lore adding to the universe of 28, I don't know, the 28 universe, and it had great acting with Ray Fiennes, and of course the ending with seeing the third movie with Cillian Murphy. So I'm hyped with the third movie. Daniel Paul returned to directing. I feel like that director, she did a good job. I don't know, man, I still did not love the script that much. I think that's mostly the problem, and it was not as innovative as the first one. It still gets a 7.5 out of 10, 3.75 stars. Then at number 13, we enter an underrated movie here, How to Make a Killing. So I really think it's underrated because I want to watch it because I really love Glenn Powell. I think he's a great actor, and I feel like he did really well, as well as Margaret Qualley and all the people that were involved in this movie. They did good. This movie, in my opinion, has a really good script, a story that is very interesting, well developed with Glenn Powell's character telling it from the cell. You know, that was really interesting. I still feel like there was a little bit of a lack of development in the sense of why the character has the motives to all of a sudden become a killer, because you know, like, there's a reason for him doing it, but why would he, like, I don't feel like he has in his nature to be a killer. So that's a little bit of the development of it, because there is a motive, which is money, but there's not like much of a development to it. I also feel like it lacks a little bit of a cinematographic standout to be like above the 4 stars, you know, because it's a good movie, but it lacked just a little bit in cinematography. I think it would have been way better, but I still loved it, and it was really fun to watch. 3.75 stars, which is 7.5 out of 10. We have Remarkably Bright Creatures, a Netflix movie that was so heart-touching, really great, an old-timer script. It's based on the book, and they say the book is really good, so there's that, of course. I really liked it, and the only thing that I did not like was the cinematography. It was too bland, and it looked like a typical Netflix thing, which I did not love. But it still was an old-timer movie in the sense that it really had me almost tearing up, and it has a great message, so it was really good, and the way everything develops and the ending and the plot twist was good. So it gets an 8 out of 10, the first 4 stars of this video. Number 11 of the most exciting movies this year, in the sense that I have a lot of hype, The Backrooms movie by Tim Parsons. Of course, it's a great achievement for somebody that is 20 years old to have their first release in theaters. That's great, and doing so successful, so that it's like congratulations to the director. I think that Backrooms is a great movie with great psychology, great horror, and the first half of the movie, a little bit like deeper than the first half, is great. One of the best horror things I've seen. I also think that the cinematography is awesome. It looks great, and there's this random shot that's my favorite shot of a movie, of a homeless man with a mini cart, with a supermarket cart, and it's like from within like an angular lens, and it's below the like beneath his eyes and from the ground. I was like, what? I just saw the best shot of a movie, and it didn't have any freaking relevance. It just was there for the sake of being there, which was like so random. I feel like this movie for me felt a bit too long, like dragged out, I enjoyed it, but mostly what ruined it a little bit for me from it being like perfect was the plot twist. Everybody knows, like I don't know if I should spoil it, but like changing and making Lanza the protagonist the villain, I was like, why is this happening? Like I don't feel like it was a natural thing. You have, of course, his psychology would make sense, like his psychology is interesting, but what I did not like was the idea of him being a bad guy. Like why would he all of a sudden decide to be this bad dude? Like no, bad dude, I'm something like a kid. But yeah, I also was not a big fan of these things that's leaving the back game. I feel like it was not a reveal that was like as scary as I expected, with something that was like with a in human form, like the thing that happens in about backrooms lore. Aside from that, I think it was a great movie and I recommend it a lot. I give it 8 out of 10, 4 stars. At the 10th position in this ranking, we have Sam Raimi's Send Help. To me, this was a really exciting thing. I am a really big fan of Dylan O'Brien. I saw him on Twinless, and I think he's a magnificent actor. And I am really happy that he got the opportunity to be in this movie. I feel like it's a great comedy, and the acting of Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien elevates the movie really well. I also feel like the story itself in this movie is really well told, and it has a great evolution despite it not being perfect. I think that it has a good pacing. It's really benefited by this humoristic moments. I love to see the style of Sam Raimi be showcased with his transitions and some unique shots and little touches of his horror characteristics. Nonetheless, I feel that for this movie to elevate itself, it needed a little better lighting and cinematography, maybe something that made it look different from other stuff. But in general terms, I really like this movie. It's one of my favorite watches so far. I had fun. I was rooting for the characters, and I'm really happy that it's an original film that was successful. I give it 8 out of 10, 4 stars. Number 9 decision, maybe a shocker, but it was a shocker for everybody, quite frankly. The Sheep Detectives with Hugh Jackman and a lot of interesting actors. The Sheep Detectives is just an awesome whodunit story, and surprisingly, despite it being somebody would think is a child adventure, it really worked really well. You have a great story, with a great mystery, and most importantly, a lot of heart, and a good theme, and a good message, and just something that strikes you in the feels. I think that it's really well executed. For me, the CGI, it looks good, and seeing the behind the scenes, it really is like interesting how they did the whole thing to make it like Hugh Jackman not weird, and him actually in some plushies or sheeps to work with. So I recommend it a lot. I think it's such a heartfelt movie, and whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, whether you're a teenager, you're going to enjoy it. So surprising to say the least. It also has some cool shots and some cool lighting moments, so it was great. It really was great. 8 out of 10, 4 stars. At the 8th position, we have The Drama, one of the most anticipated movies, I guess, for everybody when it was about 2026. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya starting in a very interesting movie with a great story, in the sense that it's very divisive, polemic, and it's a morally ambiguous thing that has you debating across the whole movie. And once you're outside, like even I have friends that are not necessarily cinephiles, and they were like, man, what do you think about this? What do you think about the dilemma between what she did, what he did? Would you forgive him? Would you forgive her? The movie itself has great rhythm, a great story, and it's a great use of montage, of editing, film editing, because it has a great balance between the cuts and the comedic effect, and mixing in drama with terror, with a lot of things that really work really well thanks to how the film's edited. It also had a lot of great acting, like both Zendaya and Robert Pattinson did well. You understand their characters, their motives, and I am really satisfied with the movie. It's still not as high because it did not necessarily change my movie watching experience forever, and I also do not think that the cinematography stands out at most. It's just okay, it works it's effective. It could have been a bit better, but it works. That's the most important thing. So I gave it 8 out of 10, a total of 4 stars. And number 7, one of the most hyped movies, at least in the past months, The Invite, directed by Olivia Wilde. This movie has an awesome script. Like, it's so well done. And I watched it with my mom and she loved it. And we had a lot of fun in the theater. And it has like a very interesting theme regarding all of these things in relationships. I feel like the acting, especially Seth Rogen and the four main characters, do it well. I was surprised by Seth Rogen because I had not watched him in a serious role, I had only seen him in the studio, but I generally was surprised by him. And I also think when I look at Olivia Wilde and Edward Norton did well, Olivia Wilde really did a great job at directing. And specifically, what I most liked about this movie was its shot composition and the blocking in it. Like, they did it so well. The choreography between all of the actors to position themselves in ways that looked really well and also told the story through the composition. That was really well done. I think that it generally stood out, and the use of mirrors and the use of corners and the use of the house itself, it was great, and I really admire that, and it's the thing that I like the most, and I would love to be able to do composition like that. I also loved the ending, I loved the message, I loved everything. So this movie has the recognition to be one of my favorites this year, or at least not necessarily one of my favorites, but one of the ones that I will remember. Gets an 8.5 out of 10. Why is it not 10? Because I still was not changed by it. I didn't have a catharsis, but I still loved it, and I think it was one of the best movies of this year. So it gets 4.25 stars. This might be surprising for some of you, but as you know, for what you have seen on this ranking on I love animated movies, enters Pixar's original Hoppers, which is really hopping. I think it's a great story and theme, very well transmitted and executed. It does not feel boring. It has a great pace, a great rhythm. The tone of the movie itself works very well because despite it being a animated movie directed to children, also is very entertaining for more grown-up audiences. For me, I was really enjoying the humor and the animals, and I was really feeling it. Really sad whenever the beavers would put these black eyes and be so cute, and I was like, man, it was so fun, and it was not dragged out at all. I think it lasts the amount of time it needs to last. It has a great impact, and I think it has a great message about environment and animals, and I think the movie delivers, and I think it's the path that Pixar need to follow. Stories that have something to say and are like innovating and have cool concepts, and I think that they're getting in the right track with this movie. If I had to find some negative aspects, maybe I wish they developed a little bit more the protagonist of the story. She is great, she's very endearing, but at the beginning I was not a big fan of her, and at the end I feel like she was not as memorable as other of the characters from the story, which I think should be the other way around. I still love the movie. Hoppers gets an 8.5 out of 10, which is 4.25 stars. Moving into the top 5, a movie that you probably don't know, and I have been talking on this channel in a previous video. I made a 2025 underrated movies, but this one I think enters 2026 because it releases in theaters in 2026, but I watched it in 2025. I made a little bit of a mix-up and I did not include it in the 2025 ranking. The point is, it's called Omaha, directed by Cole Webley. This movie, they brought it to my university, to my college, and I was able to watch it. It's an impactful movie. I went in to watch it without not knowing anything about it. I just saw the trailer, which is not that revealing, and I was not expecting much, but it really genuinely surprised me. It has a great story in the sense that it's such a journey that impacts you, and at the end you're like, holy crap, like at the end you're like, holy crap, like it's just a really impactful story in the sense that you're watching it and you're like, that's great acting, and especially by the child actors who just are marvelous in the story. It's a directorial debut, and I think that's why we should congratulate the director, because it's such a good movie. And to me it gives some After Sun vibes in the sense of how I felt watching After Sun and Omaha. I felt the same feeling, despite them being a little bit different. There's still parenthood And the vibes of the movie, I don't know, like the way it's shot, the way it has some pausing moments, some calm, some contemplative shots. That's what made me feel like an After Sun. So if you like After Sun, I think you would like Omaha. It has some mind-blowing shots, so great color grading, great editing. In general, it's really good. If there's one thing I did not like, it's that it kind of feels long in a way, you know, even it doesn't have a big runtime, but maybe at the end, after the climax, it's a little bit too much. Like maybe there's like 5 minutes that you could cut out. But aside from that, I loved it. So Omaha gets an 8.5 out of 10, 4.25 stars. And number 4, you might be surprised as well. It's Toy Story 5. Guys, I love Toy Story. Like I have a Woody in my closet right now and Buzz Lightyear. I have always been a fan. I like number 4. I like the Lightyear movie. You might be like, oh my god, kill this guy. Yes. But no, I think Toy Story 5 was a great upgrade from the 4th. And it's on the level of perhaps the other ones. It's not better, but it's like good enough. And it's a movie that is awesome, has great stories with Buzz Lightyear side stories of this squad. You have Woody and Buzz coming back together, having their all great dynamic fighting, and Jessie's protagonism and her character arc is great. I think that this movie has a lot of heart as well, and the animation, especially on those playing sequences, the animation just looks gorgeous. And I love Buzz Lightyear's and Jessie's relationship finally coming to a close and them having a wedding was so magical. What I did not necessarily like about it, I feel like there were some inconsistencies with the characters, maybe Woody's mindset, maybe Buzz's mindset as a leader, and maybe Jess's character arc is a little bit repeated from the third one. What I do feel a lot is the lack of the original side characters gang. I wish Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, Ham, Rex, they had more importance. Toy Story 5 only gets an 8.5 out of 10, 4.25 stars. And number 3, you probably saw this coming by the time of doing this, it's Obsession. One of the most talked about movies of the whole year, the most successful original horror film of this century, and I think he did great. Like, what can I say that has not been said about Obsession? It's a terrifying story, it's fucking great, and it hooks you from the very beginning. It's so well written, it has a marvelous script, great development of the conflict of the character, the kind of ambiguous future that exists in this movie is really well done, and I think the whole world talks about it because it deserves it. It just shows you how it is an awesome concept with an awesome script, and honestly I think it is one of the best horror movies I have ever seen. It has some great cinematography, the aspect ratio. I was so happy to see like this blockbuster. To this extent, it's a blockbuster, how successful it was. So it's great to see a square ratio. I also feel like the acting has been talked about a lot, but once again, I think both Indy Navarrete and oh my god, what's the name of Bear? Well, the actor of Bear. I'm sorry. All the actors did really well. So it was so good to see it. 9 out of 10. The first 4.5 stars for the video. At number 2, of course, you had expected this one to be here, and maybe some of you are wondering why it's not number 1. And I will say what it is. You will see number 1, I will talk about number 1. Number 2, The Odyssey, directed by Christopher Nolan. I think this movie is a mastercraft. Great storytelling as usual. The way Nolan uses the script and how he fluctuates through time. This movie is unbelievable. And it's filled with horror moments and epic moments. It's just a fantasy epic, and you love to see a science fiction director be able to migrate to a different genre, and I think that's really admirable. I also would love to say that the pacing in this movie is so well. There's a lot of movies that last 1 hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours, and they feel like they last forever. And this movie lasts almost 3 hours, and it just flies by. It's really loving, and it has such great pacing. That's a great work by the editor. Also, of course, want to, like, literally the acting by everybody involved. Matt Damon did so well. The scene with the sirens is just so special. And Hathaway did really good. And Robert Pattinson is such, like, oh my god. So good. It's so good as an antagonist. Like, he can fluctuate between antagonist and hero. Like, he's so good of an actor. One of the best ones, if not the best one that we have right now. There's a lot of very good performances, and one that I would love to stand out, and I see that it's getting hate, but I disagree. Tom Holland as Telemachus. He was one of my favorite performances because he did so well. Like he fitted in and he stood out, and his scenes, what he was given and the character that he was given, he did the best he could with it. And not only that, but the scene where he says Odysseus, he recognized him as his father. It's just so beautiful. I can say this movie, lives were changed generally. I think it's almost perfect. And you might say, why is it not number one? Because there's just a few little details that me, I say, yeah, I'm a filmmaker too. So I was noticing, I noticed that there was some inconsistencies for my liking. I'm not saying that they did badly anything. For my liking, the color and cinematography. Okay, there were some beautiful shots. Most of the movie looks beautiful. But then within the same scene, there would be, for example, a beautiful shot of Tom Holland, and then the other shot, the counter shot, not good, you know. It's a complete backlight with the sun behind and just looks plain. Why does this happen? Because of course they were shooting with natural lighting and it's difficult. So of course I understand that, but I still say that it for me was not a great shot, and I have all the right to say it. And the other thing that I did not like, this might be really unpopular, yeah, film editing. Now, not the whole editing, but only at the beginning, mostly in the dialogue sequences. I feel like there were so many changing of shots when they were talking, specifically in the beginning, and that's the thing that I did not like. But the last thing, the sound design, it's just perfect. So there's so many perfect things in this movie, and the sound design is one of those. Right, the scene with the Cyclops, also the scene with Circe, beautiful scene, awesome scene. Gross. This movie gets 9.75 out of 10, 4.95 stars. And at number 1, who else could have it been, man? Like, there's no other movie that comes close, I think, this year and even the past year. Like, this one is just one of those movies that changes your life. It changed my life. I have talked about it a lot. In the past video, I talked about it a little bit more, mostly on the experience I had, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but Project Hail Mary. It was on another level, as I said. It has a lot of heart, and it's a great story. It feels like the book. I read the book after watching it, and it feels like it. It's so good. It never bores you. It's a movie with an awesome character, Rocky, who's awesome too, and a great story, and it, like, everything works out, man. I don't know what to say that has not been said about Project Hail Mary. It's a beautiful work of art, in any sense of the way. Cinematography is gorgeous. And I don't have any negative thing to say. When I watched it, I just knew that I was watching one of the best movies that I honestly have seen, and I'm not exaggerating. And that's it, people. I hope it was not a long video, but I really love to do these ones because I like to rank movies and give you an opinion. I have honestly considered doing separate videos for many of these movies, but I have had a lack of time developing, and in general not as much consistency as I should have with this channel, so I apologize, but I will try to do my best. And I have a lot of interesting videos coming up, so stay tuned. I invite you once again to subscribe to this channel. Comment down below your 2026 movies that you have watched, what do you think, what's your personal ranking, even you can comment your Letterboxd user, because I really like to share movies with all of you and also see the movies that you watch. I'll review my socials, here's my Letterboxd as I said, and you also have my Instagram and my TikTok where I try to promote my stuff, build my brand. So if you're interested in supporting an aspiring filmmaker, go and check it out. For nothing else, let's say at you, I say goodbye. I am an aspiring filmmaker. I guess I'll see you in the movies.
Somebody get these beggars out of here!